Okay, the recording is now live. Now, for this demo, I'll be modeling a 5-spoke wheel based on this image here. Actually, looking at this now, this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 5-spoke. Okay, let's go and take a look. So I placed this image inside my source images folder for my current Maya project. So looking at this picture again, you can see that it consists of 5 spokes, one section here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the only unique thing about this is this the way the screws for this holes are positioned. So this one is a little bit unique. Now for the holes over this particular wheel design, we will probably use the Boolean method, right, to create these holes later on. But we're going to create all these 5 consistent patterns later, then we can generate these 4 holes. So this particular pattern presents its own challenges as well. Now in my earlier demonstration, right, I was saying that if you have a picture of this alloy wheel at another angle, we can see actually how deep the center hub, okay, or this section, how far it goes into here. Now because I don't have a picture of this particular alloy wheel, I will have to make a guess of how deep, okay, that this section will go in. So let me just verify that this image is a square image. So let's go and check the properties and look under the details, and it's 400 by 400, so this is definitely a square image. So it shouldn't be an issue when I bring it into Maya to model. So this is the wheel that I previously modeled in my other tutorial. I'm going to start a brand new scene. Let me make sure I set the correct project, and then I'll create a brand new reference. Okay, I'll start off by creating a plane and then resizing, reducing the plane to just 1 division, then increasing the size of it, and attach a new material, and then under the surface shader properties, under the out color, assign it with the texture reference. Now before I assign it, I'm going to press number 6 to show the material, the texture, and then I'm going to look for the master wheel texture. So let's see this. Yeah, should be in this, the one. Okay, so now you can see that the textures have been brought up, and I think it's quite centralized, so it's pretty good. So when I model the wheel, right, usually I will rotate this reference along the z-axis. So I'm going to rotate this, holding down to J, press E to rotate, then holding down to J, and then grabbing it along the z-axis and rotate it 90 degrees. So snap 90 degrees. Then I'm going to press W to move, and then just move the wheel until it's slightly up, and then push it back along the x-axis. So right now, if I look at the right view, I should be seeing the wheel on the side here. And I will rotate this 90 degrees because I just want to find as much pattern to create a single spoke. I'll select the reference, press E again to rotate, and then holding down to J, rotate this 90 degrees. Okay, so now for now, before we start, we're just going to ignore these 4 screw holes, and we just concentrate on a single spoke. So by modeling a single spoke, later we can use the duplicate instance, okay, and rotate the additional 4 spokes, and then to combine them together. Now I'm going to approach this a little bit different. The first thing that I want to start off with is to create a circular disc that is divisible by 5. So I'm going to create a cylinder. I'll start off by creating a cylinder. Now before I do that, I'm just going to put this reference into its own channel, or in its own layer, so that I will not accidentally touch it. So by going to the channel box layers, clicking on this last button here with the plane selected, I can click on the last button until it changes to R, so that now it's non-selectable. Going to my right view again, I will first create a circular disc. Okay, so I'm going to start off by creating a cylinder, and then for this cylinder, right, I want to make sure it's divisible by 5. Okay, so 20 is actually divisible by 5. I'm going to give it a little bit more details. I'm going to use 30. Right, so 30 is definitely divisible by 5, so that will give us about 6 subdivisions each sector, right, to create this one chunk here. So next, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. So holding down to J again, I'm in rotate. So holding down to J along the Z axis, just grab and then rotate 90 degrees. All right, and then I'm going to increase the radius of this a bit, and I'm going to delete away the rest of the faces because I just need a single disc over here. So what I can do is select a single vertex here, and then press Q to select a W, then hold on to Control, right mouse click to convert the selection to faces. Right, then go to select inverse, and then press delete to delete away the faces. Okay, so now I'm going to go to right view, and I'm going to position the disk until it covers the entire reference, and at the same time I want to assign it with a new material. I'm going to give a Lambert material, and going over to the material attributes, I'm going to reduce the transparency. I'm going to give it a different color, maybe a blue. Okay, so I'm going to position this disk until it covers the entire reference. Okay, roughly around the area. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to extrude the edge out so that I have a ring of edges which I can start to work with. Now I can scale this down a little bit in face mode. I'm going to select all the faces, and then I'm going to scale it down slightly like this. Then I'm going to double click and select the edge so that the outer edge is selected. Then shift right mouse click and extrude the edge. And then pulling along the green axis, I'm going to pull out the extra edge here. Alright, and then let's see where we can proceed from here. I can actually start to delete away the faces that I don't need. For example, I'm going to keep this face here until right about I'll say that this will be considered one spoke. Okay, one spoke for the wheel. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, which is just about right. So 6 times 5 will be equal 30 segments. So I'm gonna click on select inverse, and I'm gonna delete away all these, and that will give me enough faces to start to work with just these vertices. All right. So for the outer edge vertices, I'll try my best to avoid moving them. So what I'm trying to recreate right now is this particular pattern over here. So we can use a knife tool, we can use a multi-cut tool, can start by cutting here, here, and here, and then maybe cut around this section, and then probably around here, and then cut right across here. We're just going to ignore this section for now, and then this shape here, and then close it up. And remember, we want to try to make everything four-sided, so I'm going to cut from here to here. So now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, so I'm going to cut across here to make this four-sided. So same thing for this one. So I'm going to cut across here like that, press enter. Just that I can maintain the pattern. Okay, so right now I have converted most of the faces to four-sided. I got a couple of three-sided faces here, but I'm just going to ignore those for now. And because there's a hole here, we can grab these faces over here, and we can try to we will delete this, so to create this hole. And over here you can see that there's also another extra hole over here that goes in far deeper. So we're going to insert one edge loop over here. Yeah, because these are four-sided, I couldn't use the insert edge loop tool, so I'm just going to cut straight across here. And likewise for this one as well. Okay, definitely I will have to create an inset so that I can create this extra section here, but I'll just cut across this section here like that. Okay. So you can see this section here, it actually bevels down quite a bit, and then there's another section here that moves in quite a bit. So I'm going to cut, I want to do another multi-cut from here to here. Maybe I'll just end it at this vertex here and move the vertex right about here. Then same for this one, I need to cut one section here. Then this one cut across. Okay, although we have a three-sided face here, we can deal with the topology later on. So right now I'm just going to move this so that it forms this shape. Alright, so I want to choose the faces that form this entire section here. I'm going to move this one up here, this one here, and this one I will just leave it here for now. Then I'm going to select the faces that are over this hole here, like this. Then do an inset. Go to extrude face, right, go and do an offset so that it offsets inwards like that. Okay, so if I go over to perspective view and press W to move, I can push this one inwards like that in 3D view. Okay, let's go back to our right view again. And I can scale this entire face downwards. So you will start to have this shape that goes inwards like that. And I can grab these vertices and I can move them over here. And start to form around this area here like that. And then this one will go here. And these two faces should move in, move in slightly more. And then I can confidently get rid of these faces here based on the right view. And then just delete it away. Okay, let's see. So I know this part here is going in quite a bit, and there is a bevel, sort of a bevel around this section here. Right, so I need to insert one edge loop that runs across here, right here. So it's going to run through everything, but that's fine because I need this extra detail to push in. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, so actually these two edges need to be pulled out some more along the x-axis up like that. Yeah. Going back to my right view again. Something like this. Alright. And now for this particular hole here, we will have to grab this open hole and then push it downwards, including this edge as well. Well, actually, I'll pull this down later on with the vertices, but for now, I'll just double click to select this open hole, and itself should go downwards like this as well. Let's go back to the right view and take a look. And we will now move the vertices around to form, well, actually the edge of the hole here, this hole. Seems that there's another section that goes in even more. Okay, then I'll extrude another section that goes in. So this hole is going in a little bit too deep, so I'll just grab this, pull it out a little bit more, and going to the right view again. So I will now extrude another piece, another edge out from this. So I extrude the edge like so, and then these will be lined up with the smaller hole over here. Alright, so now this section here is a bit rounded, so I want to cut another edge loop around here. Or I can just insert middle mouse, hold down, control multi-cut, and then insert another edge loop, so I can model this section here, make it a little bit rounder. Okay, so far so good. Alright, so now what about this section here? We want to use the knife tool to cut so that it forms a nice circle here. So I'll just use the multi-cut tool to start from here and then manually cut a circular section. Then I'll delete away these faces. And I think we are ready to duplicate the rest. Okay, this section, this hole here will have to be a little bit lower, and also they should be lined up together flat like this using the scaling tool to flatten. Alright, so now I have the spokes created, and also the edge here should be flat, so I'm going to select this edge, press Q to select this edge. I'm going to turn on wireframe on shaded. Select this edge and hold on to shift and then double click, so only this edge is selected. Press R to scale and scale along the x-axis until they are flattened like this. Alright, and let's take a look at the right view again, and I think I want these two vertices to be closer together. Okay, so now I think we are ready to, okay, wait, let me check. These faces here, I want them to be flat, completely flat, lined up together. So I'm just going to manually select the faces that I want to be flat, right about here. And maybe, okay, these are tapered down. So, okay, with these faces, have to be completely flat, so just make sure, yep, they're flat. Okay. Alright, so now we can use our duplicate special. You can see that the original object's center pivot is still here. So we are looking straight at the x-axis at the moment. Let's minimize this. Yeah, we're looking straight at the x-axis of the object. So let me just but you can see the object is rotated, so I'm going to freeze the transformation. Freeze the transformation. Yeah, so when you freeze transformation right now, the object is really oriented towards the global axis. Okay, so now we can rotate. Rotate, duplicate. Now before I do that, I will save a copy first. Call this alloy wheel hub _01 and save. Then I will go and edit duplicate special, and I'm going to create instance. I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, 4 copies, and then I'm going to pop up the calculator, and I'm going to divide 360 with 5 because that's how many spokes that we have. So 72 degrees. So we're going to rotate along the x-axis. So we're going to go to x-axis and then type 72 degrees. And then we're going to create instance of these objects. So I'm going to duplicate special, and I should have the 5 pieces all lined up nicely like this. Now if I want to have a clearer picture of what this looks like, I'm going to select all of them, then duplicate special again, but this time just a normal instance. I'm going to reset. Let's create instance duplicate. The reason why I'm creating another duplicate is I want to assign this with a standard surface material, okay, so that I can view it in its solid form. Okay, so this is what the object, the hub looks like. Okay, but remember they're still not connected together, but they are lined up pretty well, and we just have to make sure that the other ends of the vertices are lined up together. Okay, so this one we will have to eyeball this. We have to select this because the snapping tool doesn't really work with snapping tool only snap on another object but not an instance. It can't snap on its own instance. So I'll try to move the vertex as close as I can, okay, to the sides like this over here. And because this one doesn't have edge loop, I will have to insert one edge loop here, middle mouse click, and then I will. Now you can use this modeling tools under the transform constraint to edge slide, so that we can edge slide it until it is roughly the same position here. Same for this one. Unfortunately, we don't have like 5 screws, otherwise we'll be able to make the position of 5 screws a bit much better. So for these holes, right, we have to really customize and cut the holes ourselves, or using Boolean tools, but then we will have to fix the topology later on. Okay, so one side of these is lined up already, and I think before I join all of these together, I just want to make sure. Now this part is very critical. Before you join all the 5 parts together, you want to make sure everything is lined up properly, or that your wheel, right, is you really get the shape that you want. Okay, so in order to give this shape a much more unique appearance, I'm going to select the ends edges here, and I'm going to turn on soft selection by pressing B, and holding down the B and middle mouse click, I'm going to increase the range, and then I will just pull this. Okay, right now I'm in slide mode. I need to turn off the slide mode. I'm going to pull all this gently up so that the wheel sort of like bulges out a little bit. And I'll hold on the B and middle mouse click and increase the range again, and I'll pull it out a little bit more. So this wheel will have this unique look. Okay, so right now I'm happy with this. I'm now ready to join all the 5 pieces together. So when I join the 5 pieces, this instance will also disappear. Okay, my soft selection is still on, so press B to turn it off. Select all the 5 pieces in object mode. Okay, if you want to combine these together, and go to mesh and combine. So once you combine, you can see the instances disappear. I will delete it with history. Okay, let me undo that. I made a mistake. Always before you combine, please save. So I'm going to save, increment, and save, so that in case I mess up, I can still come back to the file to fix it. Okay, so one more time. I don't know, I think I accidentally created a perspective camera. I'll just delete this. Now I'll select all the spokes, they'll go to mesh, combine. Okay, so now it's combined already, but remember there's 2 separate elements. If I double click on it, you can see that they are separate elements. I think, let me just undo just before the combine, and I want to show you one more thing. That is, if you want to see your wheel in subdivided mode, okay, you have to basically select it and press number 3 and then see what it looks like. Now if there are certain areas, for example, you can see here that you want to have a hard edge, you will have to go and insert the edge loops first, or create a let's say like for example this edge over here. Okay, you can use the where is the I'm going to increase the hardness of the edge. Okay, so okay, let's say if I harden the edge, right? No, not this one. I think that one is okay. Where is the crease tool? Yeah, use the crease tool, middle mouse click and grab, and then you can see you can increase the hardness. Like for this particular loop here, you're going to repeat to use the crease tool, shift right mouse click, use the crease tool, and then you can increase the hardness like that. That is one way you can do to increase the hardness. Like say for example this area here, then increase the hardness. Right, so that's one way that you can do that. Another way, of course, is to, let me just undo all the creases. Another way, of course, is to just insert more edge loops. Like for example, I can insert one edge loop here. Right, then another one right at the edge here, then right at the top here, around the loop here, just to make the view appear, the definition appear a little bit harder. Okay, maybe one close to here. Alright, before I merge them together. So all of these hardness controls and all of that, right, will have to be done way in advance before you combine them together. Okay, right now this area here, I'm gonna insert one edge loop, and then one edge loop close to here, and one more hard edge loop right over here, and finally another one right at the edge here, just to give it. Okay, but you want to avoid, you want to try to delay this to the last point before you put everything together. Okay, so now we can merge everything together. Let's go and select all of these, then mesh, and then combine. Now before I do that, let me just save another increment and save. Mesh combine. Alright, now as I mentioned earlier, these are still separate elements. Okay, so we have to merge the border vertices together. So we can select all the vertices and we can apply a merge. So when you apply the merge, right, you have to be very, very careful, because you want to make sure that the vertices that are near to one another are merged together, and not everything, you don't want everything to be merged together. So shift right mouse click, go to merge, and then under the option box we change the value. I'm going to use 0.01, and then we're going to merge. Now remember to turn on your polygon heads up display under poly count, so you can see whether are there any vertices that are actually merged together, which is being displayed here. So I'm going to hit merge, and then I have to observe very carefully and see that it doesn't destroy my detail. I'm going to hit merge. Okay, it's not working, the distance needs to be increased. Okay, I'm going to increase it to 0.05 and try merging again. And some of the vertices got merged except for these. You can see that there's still two vertices over here which I want to be merged. So I'm going to try merging again, but I'm going to slowly increase the distance. So 0.08, and then I'll try apply. Yeah, now it works, but you can see that my other edge loops here are being destroyed. So this is too much. Let me undo. Okay, undo that. Okay, I might have to end up merging this manually myself. Select and then merge them. These two as well. I'm going to press G to merge. Okay, I'm going to change the material properties to a solid. Okay, so I can see where am I going. Alright, so you can see here, there are gaps here which needs to be fixed. So another way is I'm gonna select all of them first, select all the vertices here first, select the areas where there are gaps, then I will increase the merge value, the merge by distance value. Just drag a box over the two vertices, which you can see very clearly here. Okay, and then now we can run our merge again, shift right mouse click, merge vertices. And then 0.08 just now works. Okay, so we can hit merge. Alright, then there's a reduction. Okay, here this one is not merging, so I'm going to try merging at a bigger distance. Okay, this time I'm going to use 0.1. And then this one, this time it should merge, yeah. Okay, the distance between are too far away, so 0.1 will not affect those. Okay, so another way to test to see whether your merge works is to press number 3 and see whether there are any hard edge or breakages on the seams here. Alright, so everything seems alright. Okay, pardon the pun, seams. Okay, now I'm going to go to right view, and you notice that there's a continuous edge loop that runs across here now. We can use the circularize tool to make this round by pressing here. Now you can see it perfectly lines it. Okay, I'm going to go to level 1, and I can just see a very hard edge here, so I suspect maybe these two vertices are not merged. Let me see. Yeah, well actually they are merged together already, so yeah. So those vertices are merged properly. Alright. Now that this has been circularized, I will select the edge here, and then I will extrude the edge, and then have it extrude inwards. Then I can apply the circularize tool again. Oops, let me undo that. Double click to select the edge, then circularize. Okay, for some reason it doesn't want to circularize, and it forms this very weird star. Okay, I think I know what's wrong. I need to flatten this first, then go to the right view and circularize. Yeah, now it works. And I will just extrude another more edge here. Then I'll merge these together, merge the center. Right, and then I'll have the central hub here more or less done. Now as for the these holes over here, okay, I think that one will take quite a while for me to do, so I'll just do one, and then so that the video is not too long. I'm going to delete away my history. My history is too long. Go to the transparency and then show you where the holes are. So there are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can use the tool, the multi-cut tool, to cut a hole and then circularize the hole, and then make sure that the topology, right, all the topology follows a four-sided faces. So it's going to take some time for you to do that. Another way would be to create a cylinder and then use the Boolean tools to subtract from this. Now I will not be doing that demonstration because it's going to take quite a while to actually custom cut 4 holes like this for this one. So for in the interest of time, I'm going to just finish my tutorial here. I'm going to rename this. And for the holes, I'm just going to continue to do this on my own time. Then for these transform nodes in the outliner, you can delete them. Okay, so I'm going to select the outer edge now, and then I'm going to use the circularize to evenly distribute them so they form a nice circle. So that now when I select the outer edge, I can create a nice rim by using the move and shift to extrude out a section. Okay, and then you can also use a scaling tool, holding down the shift and scale inwards to create a rim around it. And as for the wheel, you can create a wheel out from a cylinder, but a quick way would be to use a torus. and then rotate the torus 90 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to align the torus with the wheel. Select the torus, shift select the wheel, and then go to modify align. Align in the center. If you go to the right view, click right in the center. So right now it is aligned. So we're going to scale the torus up using the channel box. Okay, going to select the torus, and we're going to increase the radius. Okay, and then increase the number of subdivisions. We're going to use 30. Okay, and then our section radius, we're going to increase it as well so that we have a nice big tire. Okay, right now we just need to select the torus and then just move it back a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna increase the size of the radius, so like almost like inflating the tire, and then the section radius, increase it as well, like so. Okay, right now you can see that the wheel is a bit too thick, so we're gonna reduce the section radius a little bit. Okay, until it's about just nice like that. Okay, so we know that the wheel, right, is not so narrow when you look at it in the front like that. So I'm going to scale this in the vertex mode and scale it non-uniformly like so. So right now it has a profile more like a tire. Just gonna temporarily give it a black color. Give it a Lambert. Give it a black tire, almost like a dark brown, black. And then this material, I'm going to assign it with a blend material. Okay, this is just temporary for it to look good. And then I can switch off my wireframe unshaded, and then we can see what the tire kind of looks like. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's how you create the spokes on the tire. So this is another method which you can try. And if I press number 3, it should still look pretty okay. Okay, so with that, I will end the tutorial. Okay, just for a quick reference, I'll just add one more edge loop here, maybe one here, and one here. Select one vertex here. Shift, increase the selection, and use scale to flatten this. Okay, so yeah, just curious. Gonna fix this area here and just make it a little bit flat. Okay, yeah, basically that's how you do the wheel.